Today, we're comparing the United States and China in the year 2050, covering economics, technology and military power. In 2050, China's GDP in purchasing power parity is projected to hit about $58.5 trillion, surpassing the United States at roughly $42.9 trillion. China takes the lead here, driven by its massive population and industrial output. By 2037, China is expected to overtake the US in this metric, cementing its economic dominance. For nominal GDP, which uses market exchange rates, China is forecasted at $50 trillion, while the US is at $40 trillion. China wins again, though the gap is narrower due to exchange rate dynamics. The US shines with about $96,000 per person, compared to China's $46,000. The US takes this one. China's population is projected to be around 1.26 billion in 2050, slightly down but still over 3 times larger than the US's 400 million. The US is expected to have a younger population with a median age of 42, compared to China's 46. The US wins. The US is projected to grow at 0.5% annually, while China's population may shrink by 0.2% per year. The US comes out ahead. China's share of global GDP in PPP terms is expected to reach 24.3%, dwarfing the US's 15%. China takes the lead, reflecting its growing economic influence on the world stage. The US's public debt is forecasted to be around 120% of GDP, while China keeps it lower at about 60%. China wins. China's labor force is projected at 600 million, far larger than the US's 190 million. China dominates. The US is expected to maintain a lower unemployment rate at around 4%, compared to China's 5%. The US takes this one. China is projected to lead globally in patent filings, driven by heavy state investment in research and development, while the US ranks second. China wins. Both the US and China are expected to be among the top 2 globally in AI development. It's a tie here. China's renewable energy capacity, particularly in solar and wind, is projected at 2,500 gigawatts, outpacing the US's 1,500 gigawatts. China leads. China edges out the US with a life expectancy of about 84 years, compared to the US's 83.5. Hong Kong's life expectancy may even hit 89. China takes. China is projected to have a 70% tertiary enrollment rate, outpacing the US's 60%. China wins. The US is expected to maintain an 85% urbanization rate, slightly ahead of China's 80%. The US takes this. The US is projected to spend 20% of its GDP on healthcare due to its private system, while China spends about 10% with a more efficient state system. China wins this one. The US is expected to spend $1,200 billion on its military, far outpacing China's $600 billion. The US leads. The US is projected to maintain around 5,000 nuclear warheads, significantly more than China's estimated 1,000. The US wins. The US is expected to have 11 aircraft carriers, compared to China's 6. The US leads. The US is projected to have about 2,500 advanced fighter jets, slightly more than China's 2,000. The US wins. Both nations are expected to have advanced cyber warfare capabilities. It's a tie, with the US benefiting from agencies like the NSA and China leveraging its scale. China is projected to have around 2,000 ballistic and cruise missiles, outpacing the US's 1,000, especially in intermediate-range systems. China wins. The US is expected to maintain about 700 global military bases, far more than China's estimated 50. The US dominates. The US is projected to retain high soft power through cultural and diplomatic influence, while China's remains moderate. The US wins. The US is expected to lead with lunar and Mars missions, driven by NASA and private companies like SpaceX. China will have its own space station and lunar missions but trails slightly. The US takes this one. The US benefits from strong alliances like NATO and ANZUS, while China relies on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and influence through RCEP. The US wins.